No one warns you that betrayal doesn't arrive like a storm. It comes quietly, slipping in through the cracks you didn't know existed. It comes in late-night silences, in changed tones, in guarded messages, in the empty gaze of someone who once saw you as their entire world. And by the time you realize what's happening, the damage is already done, not to your relationship, but to your soul. If someone had told me years ago that the greatest pain of my life would come from the person I fought hardest to protect, I would have laughed. I believed with every part of me that when you love someone deeply, your love becomes a shield, something that keeps both of you safe. I believed loyalty was a given, that effort guaranteed appreciation, that sacrifice would naturally be met with gratitude. But life has a way of teaching lessons that break you before they rebuild you. From the beginning, she wasn't just a partner to me. She was a responsibility I chose with my whole heart. She carried wounds from her past, wounds she never fully explained, but which I could feel in the way she cried, in the way she hesitated before trusting, in the way she often expected people to leave her. She had been hurt before, and I wanted to be the one who proved that love didn't have to be painful. I listened to every story she shared, stories of broken families, toxic relationships, friendships that betrayed her, promises that evaporated the moment she relied on them. With each confession, I told myself that my role in her life wasn't just to love her, but to give her a life where she never had to feel abandoned again. I made space for her in ways I had never made space for anyone. I stretched myself to fit her needs. I changed habits, routines, priorities, and dreams, not because she demanded it, but because I wanted to be the stability she had never known. There were nights I stayed up comforting her even when I had my own battles weighing on me. No matter how tired I was, no matter how overwhelmed life became, I made sure she never felt alone. I reassured her constantly, not out of obligation, but because she meant that much to me. If she showed the slightest sign of stress, I was already there, ready to shoulder the burden. If she doubted herself, I reminded her of her worth until she believed it. And she leaned on me. At first, in a way that felt genuine, in a way that made me feel needed, valued, appreciated. But somewhere along the journey, something changed. It wasn't loud. It wasn't sudden. It didn't come as a fight or a dramatic shift. It came quietly. The first signs were almost invisible, barely noticeable unless you were paying attention. But love makes you attentive. Love makes you sensitive to every change. I saw it in the way she started guarding her phone, the way she angled the screen away, the way she took longer to reply, the way she suddenly spent more time thinking, resting, or needing space. At first, I told myself she was stressed. People get tired. People need time alone. I reminded myself not to overthink. But then her voice changed. The warmth in it faded. The softness disappeared. The conversations shortened. Her eyes stopped lighting up when she saw me. She became distant, not in a way that could be explained by mood swings or long days, but in a way that felt intentional, controlled, deliberate. She looked at me differently. Not with love, not with anger, but with emptiness. And that kind of emptiness is the loudest signal a heart can send. Whenever I asked if something was wrong, she brushed it off with irritation. She accused me of assuming too much, of reading into things, of creating problems that didn't exist. But her reactions weren't normal. They were defensive. They were the reactions of someone protecting something or someone. Still, I tried harder. I softened my approach. I tried to be more patient, more understanding, more forgiving. I told myself relationships go through phases, and I needed to be strong. But strength means nothing if you're the only one trying. The emotional distance grew until it started suffocating me. I found myself questioning everything, my worth, my intuition, my sanity. I tried to convince myself that the changes were temporary, that she would come back, that I simply needed to give her time. But time only revealed the truth. And the truth hit silently, but with the force of 1,000 blows. It wasn't a confession. It wasn't an apology. It wasn't a moment of clarity shared with heartbreak and honesty. It was a series of small inconsistencies, tiny misalignments in her stories, in her behavior, in her excuses, that stacked up until they formed a picture I could no longer ignore. She had betrayed me, emotionally, secretly, repeatedly. Not accidentally, not impulsively, but willingly. And when the truth finally surfaced, the person I saw in front of me wasn't the woman I fell in love with. Her remorse wasn't real. It was survival. She wasn't sorry for the damage she caused. She was sorry she got caught. Her apologies were thin, shaky, rehearsed, like lines spoken by someone trying to keep their role in a play rather than someone desperate to make things right. She talked about confusion. She talked about stress. She talked about mistakes. But she never once talked about the choices, the deliberate actions that led us here. Betrayal leaves you breathless, not because of the act itself, but because of what it reveals. That someone you protected, supported, and fought for was capable of lying straight into your face while receiving everything you gave with open hands. I had sacrificed pieces of myself she never even noticed. I gave up opportunities she didn't even know existed. I put her emotional needs before my own, thinking that love meant carrying more than your share when necessary. But while I was giving, she was drifting. While I was building, she was hiding. While I was fighting to keep us strong, she was quietly choosing someone else emotionally. Her betrayal didn't just hurt. It broke the version of me that believed love could save anything. Now, I'm left rebuilding myself from fragments she didn't care she shattered. Healing is slow. Some days I feel strong, ready to move forward. Other days the memories hit like waves, pulling me back into the pain. But with every passing moment, I'm learning that choosing myself is not selfish. It's necessary. I understand now that you cannot keep pouring into someone who drains you to fill themselves. You can't save someone who doesn't value the hand holding theirs. You can't sacrifice your soul to keep a relationship alive when the other person has already walked away emotionally. For the first time in a long time, I am choosing my own peace. And maybe, just maybe, this heartbreak is not the end, but the beginning of finally discovering what real love should feel like. If you gave someone everything, your loyalty, your sacrifices, your forgiveness, and they still chose to betray you, what would you do? Would you try to rebuild, or would you finally choose yourself? Share your thoughts. Your perspective might help someone going through the same pain.